guy, when you have a big modified race, this dude's going to win most of the time because he's just so damn good. Man, this is going to be fun. It is the man, the myth, the legend, Willie G. William Gold. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing good. How are you?
And we're doing well, sir. We're doing well. How about you, man? Coming off a big weekend, you go off to Kennedale, and hell, you win there too.
Well, sometimes better be lucky than good.
No. Oh man. So tell us, Willie. I mean, so many guys. I mean, factory stocks and all this, man. The modifieds. I mean, to us as Bobby and I, both old school racing guys, those modifieds, man, that's where it's at.
Well, they're just more fun to drive. You know, they lift, they fall. You gas them, they go. You hit the brakes, they stop. I mean, they're just more fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
So before we talk about your current ass whippings that you've been giving out, let's talk about how this whole thing started for you. Did you start in a modified, or did you come from a racing family? Talk about how you got started in this crazy business we love.
Yeah, I come from a racing family. My dad and his brothers, they all raced. I was kind of a hot rodder. I liked to, I had a little 70 Camaro, and I liked to street race and go to the drag strip sometimes. But everybody's always telling me how, a blind man smoking dope and go fast in a straight line. So in 1995, I sold my street car and used the money to build my first modified myself, which, I mean, my dad helped me quite a bit. And a friend of his named Steve Gregg, he helped out quite a bit. And I've been building my own stuff ever since.
Yeah, absolutely. So talk about these modifieds. I mean, over the years, I mean, they've changed a lot. I mean, it's been the modifieds come, the modifieds go, but they're still really, really damn good. Talk about the evolution of the modifieds from when you started up until now, when you're still whipping everybody's ass.
Man, really, it's just the bolt-on pieces.
Yeah.
When I started, I mean, I was pretty lucky. I won 11 features my first year, and tore up I don't know how much crap, trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
And then my second year, I think only won 3 features because I thought I knew everything, and nobody appreciated my attitude, so they didn't give me any help. And then
absolutely,
my third year, I went back to winning a dozen or more, and it just kind of I don't know, it just kind of evolved from there. But I was always a poor boy, so my motors. I mean, I remember one time I bought a motor for $250 from Josh Landers and his dad that came out of a factory stock.
Nice.
And I put that thing in there in 1999 with some double hump heads, and I think we won every big race in the DFW area. And then went to Oklahoma City and won the Bud Carson Memorial, which was the last race they had for modifieds on the half mile, I think. It was kind of like, a crate motor before the crate motors.
Yeah.
And then I finally blew the damn thing up, and, I started trying to piece stuff together, and everything I put together, blew up. And, I claimed some motors, and it seemed like I think in 2011 I only had like 23 IMCA sanctioned starts, and I would say that most of the time I would go someplace 2 or 3 nights in a row, so I'd be eligible to claim a motor. And then I would go run some open comp crap where they couldn't claim it back because I couldn't afford to build one, But then in 2011, we started running the IMCA deal again. And from 2011 to 2013, we ended up winning a national championship. And IMCA gave me a deal for having 100 feature wins, So I don't know. I've been pretty blessed. I mean, lots of help and little God-given talent, and
yes, sir.
Lots of good luck along the way too.
That's right.
So we've talked to different promoters about the joys of IMCA, right? Where you've got that one set of rules you can run everywhere across the country. That's great. That's cool. And they talk about the support they get, that especially when it comes to a question on a rule, they can call up IMCA, let IMCA make the decision on it. So that's the promoter's perspective. From the racer's perspective, you talked about, winning some of the stuff, the titles and different stuff with IMCA and getting the different awards. What is it from a driver's perspective that makes you want to run those IMCA sanctions versus running some of that outlaw stuff, especially up in the DFW area?
So it's just money. I mean, I build my own stuff, so I don't have to pay somebody for the chassis, but just to keep it simple, I've got a $30,000 race car, that drives in the trailer, and I can go anywhere in the country and be competitive at an IMCA show.
Yep.
Back in 2011, we went to a USMTS show at Humboldt, Kansas, King of America deal. The first night I was there, I sucked. And I was working in the oil field, and I was making really good money. And anyway, one thing leads to another. My dad and I get in an argument, and he's telling me how maybe I'm missing the boat building my own stuff. And I got frustrated. So the next day, I went and bought a Stage 3 Mullins motor. The MRW guy was there. I bought 8 new tires and wheels. I went over to Jason Hughes. I bought, a set of shocks, from him. Yep. Actually, the ones right off of his car. And then we went out and, we set fast time on our group, won our qualifying heat, won the A qualifier for the big show. And, it was just cubic dollars. Yep. It wasn't that I went to bed that night and woke up a better racer. It wasn't anything but money. So, from a racer standpoint, everybody's got a story, how they got a $5,000 motor or they got this or they got that. But when you get down to it, to be a legitimate player to win the outlaw stuff, yeah, you really need a $20,000 to $30,000 motor. You really need, a $20,000 to $30,000 chassis. You don't have to have the $250,000 tow rig, but it sure makes you look funny if you don't. And whenever you figure in, pit passes are the same no matter where you go. But when you figure in the entry fees to go chase these big paying races, yeah, and then if you're not one of the top 10 that's actually got a shot of winning, you're just racing for start money in a B feature, and you might make an A if you get lucky. It's just, the dollars and cents don't add up. I don't down nobody for doing whatever their heart tells them to do. But as far as me, I enjoy racing, but it's only fun if I win.
Yeah.
And I spend so much time and money trying to be the best that I can be. I just don't like going to the racetrack and feeling like I brought a knife to a gunfight.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And Willie G, isn't that part of the thing? I mean, because there's so many guys that have to do it the old-fashioned way. I mean, like we're talking about, with home-built chassis, home-built motor, whatever it is. Man, those guys, like you're talking about, I mean, you were stacked up when you go there. It's just the way it is right now when you talk about cubic dollars and the economics of racing. It really does suck for the guys that can't do that, but I think it's really cool that those guys and ladies keep showing up and they continue to try to get out there and race.
Well, yeah, because, I mean, hell, like my son, for example, he has no experience, but he wanted to race, and my dad got him a stock car, and, he kind of played with that for 7 or 8 nights, and I watched what was going on, and I was like, I said, it makes no sense because you've got a $12,000 stock car sitting here. Mm-hmm. For that same $12,000, you can build a competitive modified, yeah, that will run the top 4 and win when it's your turn. I said, you race these other classes, sport mods, stock cars, whatever. It pays less to start, pays less to win. You race against more cars, tear up more stuff. Mm-hmm. So to me, the modified deal, especially the IMCA modified deal, is the only thing that makes any sense. And then the fact that it is a sanctioned, a sanctioned class that has some teeth in the rules. Everybody's got a friend.
Yeah.
So even if you race, like I'm sponsored by John and Nikki Webb, they own Southern Oklahoma Speedway. I'm sponsored by Jerry Frederick and David Good. They own Heart of Texas Speedway. I'm friends with a lot of people, but at the same time, our friendship don't really come into play because they've got tech men at all these racetracks. Yeah. And if the racers point something out to the tech men and it doesn't say, in black and white in the rule book, Well, they can call Dave Brand, the national director, or they can call Selby Holder, the regional director, and they can say, hey, look, here's a picture of so-and-so's part on his car. Is this right or is this wrong? And at that point, it's out of the racetrack's hands. Yeah. You know, they already went above and beyond. So now then we're going to get a clarification, and we're not going to get it next week. We're going to get it right now. So if somebody won a race with illegal stuff on their car, you know, chances are they're not going to get rewarded for that. And everybody that finished behind them, you know, you make one hot dog mad, and you make 15 wannabes happy.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
You know, so I just think it's healthy for the sport.
Mm-hmm.
So what we've noticed is that it seems like there's a newfound love, so to speak, for the modifieds, for the IMCA mods, the big mods, whatever you want to call them. It seems like they were dropping off a little bit because everybody started, you know, feeling the pinch of the factory stocks, and it seems like now the sport mods are the class that's suffering. But it seems like there's a little bit of steam coming back into the mods because I guess some guys have decided that it costs almost the same whether or not you run a factory stock other than tires. You know, some people are spending $30,000-$40,000 on factory stocks. Like you said, you can build a really competitive modified for, you know, 10 to 15. What have you seen from your side of the seat over there? Is the modifieds as healthy as they have been? Can the fields be a little healthier, or where do they rank in your opinion right now?
Well, I think they're coming back because, like, in my opinion, and I know this isn't the popular opinion, but I think, you know, across the country we have too many racetracks. Because it seems like every time somebody with money gets mad at this racetrack, then they get their buddies together and they go build another one. Well, now they split the fans, they split the cars. If there's not fans, there's not cars. They can't pay what they used to pay. So now they've cut the purse. And then on the other side of that, you got too many race car classes. You know, because in the old days, you had your stock cars, you had your modifieds, and you had your late model or your sprint car. And you just kind of get in where you fit in. But it's like all these people, they all want to tweak these rules, and they want to give this sales pitch based on being economical, and they want to create a new and separate class that's easier for them to win in because they don't want to work hard. And they don't want to spend any more money, and they're tired of getting their ass kicked by the same old people week in and week out. So they keep creating. You know, we got 14 freaking sets of modifieds. You know, I mean, you got the kids class, and you got the eco class, and I would say half the people with the eco mod have got 2 race cars. So why do they need to be in economical anything? You know, and then you got the factory stocks. You know, the factory stock, that's just the. You know, that's just the good idea that went horribly wrong, you know, because they started out with, you know, salvage yard rear ends and salvage yard front end parts, and they're going to let you put aluminum bodies because people say it's cheaper and easier, but really they just don't want to have to go gut these old cars and skin them, and, you know, plus it just, I don't know, man. It's, to me, the factory stock class is a joke. They're way overpriced. They're getting $12,000 and $15,000 motors for stock crank, stock rod, cast piston pieces of crap with big combustion chamber heads. You know, the sport mod deal, it wouldn't be a bad class, but they got all these rules that they don't enforce. You know, if you're going to run basically a factory stock with a modified body and the motor scooted back, and the only real rule is, you know, the motor and the size of the carburetor, well, they need to tear them some bitches apart every time they finish a feature and make sure that the top 4 is 100% right. And they don't need to listen to the engine builders that say, well, we need to run these parts here because they're going to last longer. And even though they cost more money, it's cheaper on the racer in the long run. Well, that's true if you're a racer that can afford those top of the line parts in the first place. But if you're a racer that can afford those top of the line parts in the first place, why in the hell are you going to want to be classed like a sport mod? You know? Just go ahead and put on your big boy pants and move up into the other class. I mean, I don't know. I've got so many opinions on everything, you know, that I'm sure will piss more people off than what makes them happy. But
well, that's good.
I mean, I do this for a living, and you know, if it don't make dollars, it don't make sense. And
well,
you know, to me,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I got to tell you, with the factory stock thing, I mean, I love those cars. I mean, I grew up driving asphalt stock cars. So to me, yeah, they look great. But it's the same thing that happened on pavement. When these guys started going off and getting the chassis built and all this other shit, I mean, that defeats the whole purpose, in my opinion. I mean, this is not an affordable alternative to what people are trying to avoid.
No, if they're wanting to act like the factory stock class is an affordable entry-level class, and they want to act like they put so many restrictions into the rule package to keep these guys from having these full-blown race cars running this so-called inexpensive class, then what they need to do is they need to run those cars one race a night. It needs to be the last night of the last race of the night, and they need to flip a coin to see if they run in race direction or the opposite direction. And then all of a sudden, you'd have something worth watching, because then you wouldn't have guys, putting all this, modified and late model technology into these factory stocks, because they wouldn't know if they need to go fast and turn left or go fast and turn right.
Oh my goodness. I love that.
Good idea.
I like that a lot. That's the way it should be.
It's a really good idea, especially with all the high dollar factory stuff that they're paying. And the purse for the factory stocks are unreal too, paying $5,000 and $6,000 for those classes. That's just the economy of scale for factory stock just seems kind of off.
Stock.
Yeah, the stock portion in factory stock seems kind of off. So let's talk about your schedule. Obviously, you run all over. You run Cotton Bowl, you run Heart of Texas, you run Kennedale, you run in Southern Oklahoma, a bunch of different tracks all around you. Is there one that you think fits your driving style better, or are you winning at all of them so you like all of them?
Well, my favorite track, if they water it, is Grayson County Speedway.
Nice. Because
it's so small and so tight that every corner, every lap, a guy has two chances of screwing up, so the best driver normally wins.
Yes.
My second favorite track would probably be Boyd Raceway, now that Richard Snyder's got it, because when Davey Plato had it, he kept putting sand on the racetrack because people kept bitching about it getting rough and being too fast. And now Richard has undone all of that. And, now it's got 2 lanes every night. And, it's something that's fun to race on. After that, it would probably be Kennedale, and then it would probably be Waco. And then after that, I guess it would probably be Southern Oklahoma as far as tracks in this area.
Yeah.
I think Southern Oklahoma is probably the best run racetrack out of all of them, but unfortunately it's just so big. I mean, it's boring. It's like watching a special needs kid try to read. I mean, you know what I'm saying? I mean, they're going to get there, but the straightaways are so damn long, I don't know. I probably shouldn't have said that, but
it's okay. Unfiltered, my man.
I just sometimes I think stuff and then I say it, and
it's okay.
Anyway, just the way it is.
You're totally good. So I mean, talk about that, because you're talking about all these racetracks, and we talk about Kennedale and Waco. I go to Waco. I got to talk to you in Victory Lane that night, a few nights. But I mean, the key for these racetracks, I mean, the racing is great, but man, you got to put on a great presentation, because people want to be entertained. I mean, the racing is one thing, but you got to do other shit to keep people animated with what's going on. And you see all these racetracks.
Well, that's just it. I mean, with the way everything has gone in the sport, and with the $1,200 factory stock shock package and the $3,000 modified shock package, and in the old days, before the crate motor that can be bought for $4,500 used, I was one of the guys that, if I showed up and it was dry and a little bit dusty, and I knew it's probably going to be one lane around the bottom, and I could hit my marks, and I liked that kind of deal. But now, the way things are, the tires are the only part of the car that touches the racetrack, so tires are super important. There's braking systems out there that, work off of GPS and Bluetooth that have a sensor on the car that tells how fast the car is going, and then it's got wheel speed sensors that you can put on the wheel, the crankshaft, the drive shaft, whatever, that tells how fast the motor is turning, and then it applies pressure to the brakes so that the car is moving within so many percentage of the wheel speed.
Yeah.
And then you got your your digital traction control that goes with the boxes, and I don't know, man. It just,
that's drag racing. That's bracket racing.
Yeah. So to me, in this day and time, if you want to put fans in the stands, make the racetrack start out a little bit wet. Know that it's going to have a bottom, it's going to have a top, it's going to get slick through the middle, and the only people that wind up in the middle are the ones that can hit their marks up top or down low. And give them something to watch. And if it gets a little bit rough, and somebody that normally runs good messes up a $400 shock, well, sorry about your luck, but you can obviously afford them, so just buy another one. Don't bitch about it on the internet. I think if it's not exciting, you can't have a successful racetrack and base it off of everybody in the grandstands being related to somebody in a race car. You've got to make it something for people to come and watch that don't know anybody, that aren't related to anybody. They just want to come and watch because it's exciting and it's entertaining.
I love it. I love that.
As a racer, I don't ever want to tear up anybody's stuff. But I promise I will tear the hell out of my race car all by myself, just trying to make something happen to get to the front. And, if it works, great. If it doesn't work, well, I don't ride home, thinking, well, I wish I'd have done this or I wish I'd have done that, because, it just, to me, it's just not like that. If you're racing strictly for fun, then it doesn't matter if you run first or you run last, because you're just doing it for fun.
That's right.
But, if you're racing to win, then you need to look at the big picture. And anytime something happens, if somebody gets into you, even if deep in your heart it was on purpose, just got to tell yourself that it was a racing deal and they were just doing the best that they could.
Yeah.
And, when you step back and you look at it, you're only driving one race car. So, stuff happens. You just take the good with the bad.
That's right.
So how do you decide which track you're going to run? Obviously, we talked about you running all of them, and which one is your favorite. But how do you make the determination? Do you points chase? Do you purse chase? Or do you do a combination of both? How do you determine what's the best racetrack for you to run in a particular weekend?
Honestly, it's just my wife's a nurse, and usually she can't get home till 4:00 on Friday. So, that makes it real easy for me to get to Boyd, because from where I live, there's virtually no traffic from here to Boyd. And if I run the speed limit, I can get there in an hour and 45 minutes. If I go to Waco, it's always 3 hours from my driveway to the racetrack.
That's for damn
and
sure.
That puts me there right at 8:00. That puts me, calling ahead and asking for, to check me in or draw for me or whatever. And then, of course, that puts me getting back home at 4:00 in the morning.
Yeah.
I hate that, because I do enjoy racing there, and I do get help for the people that own the place, but I can't be two places at once.
Yeah.
So this year, I hate saying this out loud.
It's okay.
But this year, I plan on winning the championship at Boyd. I plan on winning the championship at Kennedale and Ardmore.
Damn.
And then go to Waco when I can.
Yeah.
I would like to win the South Central region again, and I would like to take a legitimate run at doing as good as I can in that national deal.
Yeah.
And with gas prices like they are, it makes more sense for me to do that than it does to even consider towing way off to chase big money, because every time you tow off to chase big money, it's real quick and easy to see what you're going to spend to get there, but you never know what you're going to get when you head back home.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
So that's my plan for the year. We've got, I think after the other night at Kennedale, I've got 169 IMCA feature wins.
Woo.
And I would really like to get in that 200 club.
Yeah.
I don't know that I can make that happen in one season. I mean, I'm going to try.
Yeah, I bet.
I don't know. I set personal goals for myself, and anytime I say something out loud, then once somebody else hears it, then you can bet your ass I'm gonna do everything in my power to make it happen.
Woo!
That's why I don't ever don't ever tell somebody that I'm gonna whoop their ass, because that just falls on deaf ears. If I ever get to that point, I just go ahead and try to do it. And
Yes,
sometimes it works, sometimes it don't. But it's not from lack of effort.
I'm glad you did it here. I'm glad you did it here, my man. It, man, super good stuff. And I know that you were going to be on track. I mean, because like I said, I mean, you are Mr. Modified. I mean, it's like week after week. I mean, it's like he wins here, he wins here, he wins here. It's very impressive what you do, man. We're proud to talk to you, dude. Thanks for being a part of this. And this has been really cool.
Well, I appreciate it. And I mean, I don't want to get off here without thanking Corey and Benjamin Baker in Nebraska, because Baker Boys Racing Shocks, they started helping me the last 3 races of last season.
Yep.
And they basically, I don't really model my race cars after anybody else's stuff, so I don't have anybody to call and talk to and bounce ideas off of. So these guys have basically taken their shock business and tweaked it to fit my race car, and it's just been so impressive. I mean, it's I got to give them so much credit, because I'm really not doing anything different. They have just changed my car and forced me to kind of change the way I'm driving it. But God, these shocks are just so unreal.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing. Something like that can make such a huge difference. It's that's racing. I mean, that is racing. And I mean, you man, you were so smooth. It's fun to watch you, man. When I'm calling a race and you're there, I'm like, this is going to be fun. This is going to be a hell of a lot of fun.
Well, I appreciate it. I want checkers every time, but if I happen to get wreckers, well, that's okay. I just hope it's exciting to watch.
It always is, man. It always is. Willie G, man, we got to do this again. Keep us. Let's do this throughout the year. I mean, because I want to chronicle this whole the march to that milestone. Let's do it again, my friend.
Okay, I'd love to. Do you care if I take a second and just?
No, man.
Just kind of read off the people that helped me.
Do it.
I've got a lot of folks that make it happen.
Do it, my friend, because we podcast this and it goes out to the masses.
Okay, well, Kerry Fryer Motorsports out of Merkel, Texas. Jerry Frederick, Bedall Racing. Baker Boys Penske Racing Shocks. David Good Towing.
Yep.
Al Walters at Frieden Chevrolet. Dave Leach Construction. Bobby Ott Sand and Gravel. Randy Thomas owns Champs Gravis and Keys up there in Elk City. He really helps me. Matt and Kim Gilliam, they run one of my cars, and they spend as much money on my stuff as they do on theirs.
Yep.
Dino Rendon owns Texoma Auto Care and Rendon Trucking. Mark Herring Race Engines, he keeps me with an IMCA legal open engine just in case the crate's not enough. Nicole's Country Store, of course, Gould Race Cars. Pat Fagan at Fast Shafts, Larry Adams at Adams Automotive, Ken Essenberg at Midtex Recovery, DNR Construction, that's my buddy Bubba Abels, and Tom Lorenz at Smiley's, Jerry Shoemaker at Jerry's Bit Service, Jay Neal at BSB Manufacturing. He builds me a custom bird cage that's just for my chassis.
Yes, sir.
It really helps me a lot. And then John and Nikki Webb, Michael and Vanessa Swaylock from Handjack Farms, and Chad Weirs and his boy at Weirs Machine and AccuForce.
Yeah. Yep. Takes an army, my friend. Takes a lot of people to make this shit happen.
It does. I mean, it doesn't matter how little or how much they help. I mean, I appreciate it all just the same. And you take away one of those people, and my racing suffers. Yep,
that's right. That is exactly right. Willie G, thanks for the time, my man. Let's do it again soon. Seriously, anytime. Let's do it.
All right. Well, I appreciate it. Thank you.
You bet. Take care.
All right. Bye.
All right. There he is. That's a man right there.
Mm.
Unfiltered. Hashtag real race talk. That's why we do this show.
There's
Right
a couple
there.
of sounders in now, that's for sure.
And he's calling it like it is. I mean, that is the real thing. I mean, it's competitive. It's cutthroat. I mean, there's a lot that happens right there. And for a dude like him to really call this thing out, I mean, that's when you understand. It's a lot. It's a lot.
Not quite as simple as just hopping in it and turning